Sales, that's the oldest profession that ever was. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking, but I can assure you that is a subset of sales, if you think about it. Now, more to the point, sales is so incredibly important to every single business, and pretty much the clients that I meet, whether it's an existing client or a new potential client, they're pretty good at sales, otherwise they wouldn't be in business anyway. But the biggest thing that I see that is the weakness is the thing that feeds sales, and that's lead generation. It's bringing in new customers, new leads, and new sales. So how do you do that? Well, more and more companies want to do it online, and it's fair to say that, again, with the people that we meet, this seems to be the biggest roadblock. They don't really know how to get started. So I'm going to walk you through a couple of the steps that we talk about when we have new appointments with customers. In fact, today we've had 2 appointments with 2 brand new clients, and they seem pretty thrilled with what we shared with them. But I'm just going to break that down anyway and explain exactly what we talked about. So number one, the very first thing that we look at is, are they accepting that they've got to advertise? Because if a company isn't prepared to advertise, it doesn't matter how good they are at sales, they've got a business model that simply cannot scale. So the fundamental thing is, are they willing to advertise, or do they advertise currently? And if the answer is yes, they're willing to, or they do, great, we can move on. But otherwise, forget it. It's absolutely a waste of time. All this social media posting, it doesn't work. It's not scalable, it's not measurable, and it certainly isn't going to grow anything wow. And at the end of the day, you're just going to be floundering with a business that's just maybe a lifestyle business. So the very first thing is you've got to be able to be willing to advertise. The more that you can affordably put into advertising, the faster you're going to grow your business, 100% of the time. I'll say that again. The more that you're willing to put into advertising in a responsible way, the faster that you're going to grow your business, provided you've got the right whole set of sequences in place to make that advertising work. Okay, the next thing that we look at is the very beginning of the journey. And the very beginning of the journey of anything online, before we get into any ads campaigns, designing the ads and all those kind of cool things, we look at the website that the company has. And if the website is a website that you'd give maybe a 3 or 4 out of 10, forget it. It's not going to do the job. If it's a website that's maybe a 7 out of 10, we can work with that. Otherwise, we look to create the website exactly how it needs to be. And a website 2 or 3 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, was okay how it was designed. In today's modern world of a fast-paced change, then the websites have got to be much more aligned to being a sales funnel. In other words, that the people you bring into your business, the messaging that you're using, that you're saying to them, would be perhaps different to the people that are just browsing your website for information. So there's a distinct difference there between the journey of the people coming into the business for the first time and the journey of the people coming back to your website again and again just for some basic information. It might be where you're located, might be your phone number. That's a different experience to the people that want to start the journey with you. I hope that makes sense. And from there, we schedule all the milestones that need to be in place in order to make that website work, to the point where we list everything out. And then, and only then, do I circle the 3 things that we must focus on to get the ball rolling. So we break it right down. We look at the entire journey of what's got to happen. We look at the 3 fundamental things that must be in place first before we can do any kind of lead generation, any kind of advertising. Great. So the next step after that is we start looking at the budgets that can be afforded, and we look at their products, their services and their offers. And from there, we can figure out what is an affordable way to advertise in a responsible way. We will also look at things like the targeting methods that we will use. We'll look at the platforms that we're going to use. And probably the most important thing of all, we look at what the expectation is of the customer, where they want to be, the kind of incremental value change. So finishing off with where we started, talking about sales and sales process, one of the biggest things where things do go wrong once leads come in, it's important to know that through generating leads, there's some moving parts, but typically they're all the same. There's either an email or a phone call or even a physical knock at the door from a potential customer. They're coming through your sales process. And one of the biggest breakdowns or drop-off is the way in which some companies would handle the sales process. Let me give you an example. So a company might be fixing computers, or even iPhone devices, and they're getting loads and loads of leads all of the time. And those leads are coming in either by phone call or by an email opt-in from the website of that particular company that we might set up. If those people are not contacted either by the phone call back or by an email opt-in form and then calling them back, if they are not responded to very quickly, normally within 15 minutes, then the drop-off rate is quite dynamic. It literally falls off because they do go to other places for quotes as well. So sales process is a fundamental part of the lead generation program that any company should consider when they're going to develop a business online. So that brings me full circle to talking about sales process and understanding the importance of timely responses to controlling the lead generation. There's some great tools that will help with lead generation and certainly handling those lead generation processes to the sales process in a really slick way. One of the tools that we recommend is Agora Pulse. That's Agora, Agora, pulse.com. A wonderful tool, and it will allow you to set up feedback and messages when leads do come in, so that the systems and people can be responsive to any leads coming in. Okay, that's about it from me today, and we're talking today all about handling sales once the lead has come in. But before that, I was also talking about how we go through the process of what we look at, what's important to get a customer on the beginning of the journey to make all this happen in a seamless way. I hope that's proved useful to you. Now, if you would like to be able to speak with me personally and have a one-to-one, you can have a 30-minute free call with me to see if there's anything we can do to help you. By all means, click on the link below and you can choose a time and date to suit you, your calendar, and obviously suit my calendar too. You can pick a slot, fill in your details. There's a few questions there just to kind of like get the ideas going, and then from there we can have a call, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. My name is Brett Matthews from the Local Business School.